Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage. Today we're going to be doing a short little video on the 33.3 window. This is going to take us a while, but I think it'll be a short video. So now that we got the rear bar welded in, the kind of support bar that locked into the floor, into the B-pillars, and it also tied the rear trunk mount hinge area into that bar. Everything's nice and solid. I could work on trying to get the trunk lid to open and shut. Our big thing at this point is just make it kind of like a car, so doors that open and shut and latch, trunk that opens and shuts and nothing binds and hits, and just get the major issues worked out on this car. So since I've had this car, the trunk lid was kind of just thrown into the back trunk opening, and there was no hinge pins, and obviously the wood was taken out, so those brackets were floppy. We really couldn't do anything with it. So what I did just off camera was I machined up some hinge pins that just went in and attached it so that we can open and close the trunk. So we could finally throw the trunk on, get it to sit in, and now open, so you can already hear that it binds. But what we found is on this trunk lid on the body, I knew there was some damage right here. I just never realized how bad the damage was because we didn't have a trunk lid properly mounted. It is sunk in really far. I think what happened is this trunk lid was off the car and maybe the barn that it was in or something, and something fell here, caved in the trunk opening area there. The trunk is now opening, is now a little bit out of square because I think that this actually pulled down in, and obviously it's kind of ugly. So I started doing some hammer and dolly work with the trunk lid off, and it actually, I noticed it was starting to oil can and act funny. Then we put the trunk lid on, it's like, oh, there's our problem. So what we need to do is try and work on getting this trunk opening and the gutter pushed up so that it's level, and try and get some of this damage fixed so that we can get the trunk to actually open and shut properly by the end of this video. So it'll be a little bit of a learning experience for all of us. So I'm gonna get the trunk opened, and we're gonna get something fixtured in the floor area so we can use a bottle jack and start pushing stuff around, see if we can get this thing a little bit more back in square. All right, so I got this big 20-ton hydraulic jack, bottle jack that my dad gave me when he stopped being a big equipment mechanic. He retired. I got some of his old tools. This is just one he had on the truck that wasn't beat to crap. So we're gonna be using that. It has plenty of strength. What I need to do, because where we need to push is actually on the roll of the frame in the floor here, we're gonna have to tack a piece of tubing in so that we have a foot for this jack to sit on while we're actually pushing it up. If it's at an angle, everything's gonna want to slide around. So I'm gonna get this tubing just temporarily tacked in place. It looks like a good spot is right where I have a line actually already drawn, and I'll just put maybe 4 temporary tacks, and that should be good enough for now to get us so we have a foot here to push on. All right, so Jeff got some blocks all set in here, and we have enough wood here. Jeff got this all set real nice, and Matt rested on. Here, I'll stand on this side to catch it.
Oh, I'll have to hold it till it gets tension on it.
Yeah, you know? Good job, Matt. See, what he did here is bang, boom, smash.
It's looking pretty good.
Okay, it's already, I can see it doing something. I wonder if I should close the trunk so we can, I don't know if you're going to be able to see your...
Go ahead and close it. I might be able to pump while you just watch.
The only thing is, I don't know if this wood will... Feels like it's okay. Alright, so ready to start moving some stuff around. Looks like currently we are 1/2 inch, maybe a little more, maybe 5/8 down in the worst part of it. So, okay, I'm gonna start jacking, we'll see how it moves.
Go ahead.
Yep. Ooh, that was good. That actually fixed the spot right here where that just popped.
Yeah.
The spot that was pulled down right there. Pushed it up. Okay. Go a little. Keep going.
Take a little.
Yeah, go ahead a little more.
Give a little, whatever you want to call it.
Wow. Yeah, you can see it moving. Holy crap. Go it again. Let me see where we're at now. Dang. I think we're damn near moved a 1/4 inch already. How many pumps was that?
2.
Okay. It doesn't seem like it's doing a lot, but it's hard to tell. It's spread over such a wide area. It's definitely helping. Yeah, I would keep going. I mean, we need a lot more.
Okay, coming up.
You can hear it creaking.
Yeah, but out here I hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's good, right?
I don't know.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't see it moving a lot in here, but... Oh yeah, it definitely moved. I'm down to a 1/4 inch off. We were started at 1/2 inch. We'll try. Yeah, this is all good all the way to right here, basically, where the initial damage I think occurred. Yeah. I'd like to get a little more over there, but I don't know if that's just trunk adjustment. That could be, because actually it's a little high here.
Yeah.
This corner is a little high, so if this was dropped down, it would probably fix most of this here that's low. That side's like perfect.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
yeah.
I actually think that this might just need to be, and that could be my spacer I have in there. If it's a tiny bit thinner,
Right,
it would,
you might
it would
need to
allow
take
it to drop that down.
Take a 16th off it.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and let's let it down and see what it. Wow.
It came back a bit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of great. Not as far as before though. But it definitely sprung back quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
But not as bad as it was, like, we're not as bad as we were. So, like out here in the sides, it's getting, you know, it didn't really spring back that much.
Maybe go with a narrower board.
How far does that board go out to?
Right to where your hand is at. Goes from here to here.
Okay. Yeah, we could go with a slightly shorter board and see if we can focus it more in the center, and that will just, the reaction, it'll come all the way out into here a little bit. So yeah. Yeah, I agree. Do you have a shorter? All right, so we've been moving the bottle jack around using different width boards, and what we were doing is we kind of went from the widest board that went from like here all the way to here, pretty much in between the hinges, and we went down to the point where we had a board that was just narrow. It was just right here where the major damage was, and we kind of slowly were working everything up. I was tapping around, and we have it pretty, I mean, considering how bad it was before at rest, pretty good. It's just a little bit low still right here at rest. So what we've been doing now is actually going back out to longer boards to kind of bring everything up. And again, it's getting pretty good. It's a little, panel's still a little low there. But one thing we're starting to find is that damage definitely counteracted some of the damage down here. So what we have is right here, it's tight. The trunk wood's tight down at this bottom right corner to the point where it's actually holding the trunk up off of the quarter panel there. So what we're doing now is we're going to take a board from basically here to here and just favor the driver's side and jack up on this corner, and hopefully it will help kind of twist the trunk opening to give us some space there, and we should see this trunk kind of fall into place. So we have to keep working that next, and it might help open up this gap a little bit if we get that adjusted, because it's still a little low in that corner and it's touching here. So by flip-flopping them, we'll hopefully get a gap and also raise that there. So we're gonna give that a try. Set you guys on the tripod and let you watch as Steve's jacking that, or Jeff's jacking that. All right, so we're jacking in the top left corner with the bottle jack. Go ahead, Jeff, give that a, hear a creak. Dropped a little. Oh, there we go. So now, hold on. So now we still got a little drag, but it is dropping. So go ahead and give it one more. Ooh. Still a little hang up. Go ahead again. All right, there we're clear in this corner. Give it one more. Yeah, you're lifting up here, which is, we know is going to drop down some. So if we can counteract to the point where that ends up being about level, this gap, we have a gap, you know. It's just figuring out where we need to. Yeah, I got an 1/8 inch gap right now. It's like perfect. I mean, literally, that would be the dream if I can get. Both these gaps are about the same. A little heavier on this side, but. Creak, creak, creak. And we're back to probably just about touching here. Let me see. Is that pretty much most of the pressure off?
All off.
Okay. Well, it's not hitting nearly as hard anymore. It's barely rubbing, so it's hitting up top, but down here in this corner we are coming back.
It's amazing how much better that looks.
Yeah, now it's at rest up here. So all this up here is very livable. The gaps suck, but like the panel's not.
Right, yeah, it's not destroyed. It doesn't look destroyed, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can see this moving out. As you're doing that.
That's the hottest thing.
I know it's scary. You just got to keep going. Just metal. Somebody told me that.
That was good noise.
2 more. All right.
Oh, we moved a lot of stuff that time. Ooh. Oh.
Okay. Pressure's on.
That was a big move.
Oh, baby. Yeah. What's
Things were creaking up under the deck.
Yeah. I can fit this thing.
I didn't even see it.
I am just slightly worried that the doors are going to be affected on the driver's side. Luckily, that side I didn't.
You got lots of practice getting it right, so
Yeah.
that shouldn't be hard for you to do it one more time.
Yeah. I'm going to have to do it a few more times, probably. If I paint this car, it's going to be something I'm going to mess with many times.
One more.
By one more, you mean 5 more? That was not one.
I think the guy in the jacket.
He's ready to be done.
Yeah, keep going, keep going. Okay.
There's got to be a There's got to be a version of Heat Slate going here that's in this.
Right, there's got to be some kind of
Technique. Oh man, I don't know, Jeff. That might have been the ticket there. Incredible.
Just don't open and close it ever, because it's good there. Just don't touch it.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna probably call that good for now. All right, so we're back at it for another day. Jeff and I made really good progress on the trunk and got up pretty much all of the major damage in this rear panel as far as how sunken down it was fixed. We got a gap on this side a little bit, but we ran into a point where basically we had stretched this corner as far as we were gonna go to get this gap decent, and I got it to the point where it's workable. But what we were finding is the trunk is, now we're getting stuff more square. The trunk was hitting pretty much the whole way at the top, and I was trying to figure out why that was. Well, the trunk is riveted roughly in here, and same thing over here, and it is really tight. The gap here is definitely tighter, and I started looking at it, and actually this panel right here, you might be able to kind of see, is actually bowed out right there. That's right where the hinge, like from here to here, is right where the hinge bracket actually is riveted to the body. So that is pulled this way because it's bowed out, and it's, you know, it's pulling the whole trunk lid. I'm sorry, it's pulling it this way. This is sticking out like that because it's pulling it that way. So that's going to lift the trunk up towards the top of the gap. I pretty much have the adjustments bottomed out, and we're tight at the top. So what we need to do now is do a little bit of hammer and wood and different stuff to try and hammer and get this pushed back. I'm going to actually run some welds around this hinge bracket and on the metal because I don't trust those rivets. They were starting to pull a little bit. So once we get this in place and get the trunk decent, that will be one of the things I'll do. Yes, this still looks like trash right now, but we have to address that small, kind of the bullseye of the hit. I'm going to address that sheet metal work once we get the whole trunk opening decent. Other thing is I need to work on just the trunk opening lip here is all wavy. That's just a kind of counter effect from us pushing and pulling and it being all out of shape. So I should be able to get in there with a hammer and dolly and straighten that out. That's more of a superficial thing, but we got to get this trunk opening just a little bit better. So that's the next thing we're going to try. Hopefully we can get what we need. We only need about an 1/8 inch up here, and that's pushed out pretty far. So I'm hoping by hammering that back that way, it'll kind of help get things back into shape.
Ooh, that's going back in shape.
Yeah. Now I'm a little worried it's making it go the wrong way, but of what our problem is. That doesn't seem right, so we're gonna go with this first. And
yeah. Straightened it out a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, let me just set it here for a second. Get another grip on it. You got it? Oh.
The hardest part is just
Yeah, get the pin
to drop down a little bit.
Right?
It still looks like it's about.
Yeah, it feels good. Something's hitting somewhere. Yeah, it's hitting over here too. You feel behind it.
It's not as bad. It was worse. That's not as bad as it was. I know it's not right, but
Right.
you still got a gap over here, which is what I was worried about. You start messing with this thing, you lose your gap.
Right.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
I'll tell you when to start.
Yep.
How big's the gap?
16, 30 seconds.
Try and open it up a little more.
Right at the edge is probably 16 to an 8.
An 8? Yeah, if you can get to an 8, that's good for now. Even a little more, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably around an 8 right there.
About what?
That's about an 8 right there.
Okay. Alright, you can start putting that in there.
You want me to tap it down? Or you want me to just pry out front on the other end?
Either way, don't
Okay.
matter. Just,
I don't want to hit it with a hammer if I don't have to with it hot.
working?
Yeah, it's moving. It's going to have to go quite a bit
That's fine.
to get this in at the corner.
I'm pretty much where it needs to be hot-wise.
Okay. Definitely more of a gap.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that looks really good.
It does.
Yeah, that's really good. That's probably where, you know, all the way to like here, that's looking pretty good. So if we open that side up, down, we'll have a good gap. And if I have to just adjust that corner, that's where it's leaded.
Right.
It just needs to
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, just open it up a little, you mean?
Yeah, you just open this square up. That's more sheet metal work than anything. You know,
Right.
that's putting a slit in there and you tap it in and tap it over. But you want the, you know, if that's the only spot that's tight, I can live with a little corner work. All right, so after a little bit of hammer and dolly work, some torch work, a little bit of welding, I started kind of repairing this panel here where it was all caved in. So in the last handful of shots you saw we were heating and just adjusting the trunk hinges on the car. That we got the trunk to the point where everything, the gaps were acceptable or getting in the ballpark, but we were like jammed up in the top here and we had no adjustments left. I actually even opened up the slots, the factory adjustments even a little bit to try and get just a little bit more, and it wasn't happening. So what we ended up doing is just heating those hinges while we had a wedge in there, and it pulled it down, and it actually kind of corrected a lot of the problems. So I went ahead and spent another portion of the day and just got this rear panel at least back into shape. It was caved in real hard. It was ripped all the way from here to here basically just from being stressed. So I ended up welding along the edge. I didn't finish it out like super good, but it's back going in the right direction now is kind of the goal. And the biggest thing is the trunk opens and shuts without any major like creaks or groans or issues, anything like that, and it's pretty good. So for how bad this was, and me not realizing how bad it was, I'm pretty satisfied with it. When I decide how far I'm going to take this car, like finish-wise as far as the exterior goes, I will kind of make a decision on some of this stuff. For a car that's kind of like a jalopy type hot rod, this type of dents and bangs is really not an issue. You can just paint over it and just live with it because the rest of the car isn't that great. But the more we dig into this car and the more I have to fix things, the more I'm starting to lean towards we might make the cars level of fit and finish and paint just a little bit higher, but we're not going as crazy as the Free T, I hope. So hopefully you guys could maybe learn a little bit from this video or give you some ideas or jumping points if you have a car like this where the trunk section is caved in or out of square. Just with basically a porta power or you know, a big bottle jack like that, you can push some stuff around, and some blocks of wood, of course. You can push some stuff around and start getting things back into shape. The biggest thing that I could say when you're doing this is small movements. So you need to just go around and work on an area, get it a little better, go to another area, but don't try and get everything out in one shot. I don't know how many times we had to adjust and go back and forth and redo that same area till we could finally get everything kind of equally brought back into shape. And now we're at an area where everything's kind of locked in, and it's just some stuff back here that's just sheet metal work that basically needs to be straightened out and smooth, which is a little more standard type work, whereas before we had a trunk lid that barely even fit the opening. It was so bad. So I am really happy we got basically 2 doors that fit the opening and open and shut and latch, and we now have a trunk that fits and doesn't bind. I need to figure out what I'm doing with the trunk latch situation. They had shaved the trunk handle on the back, and there is no latch mechanism or anything down in the bottom there. So I'm gonna have to decide what I'm gonna do with that. But for now, just getting all these panels to fit and open and shut is, you know, kind of the biggest thing, and then we can go back and start refining things as we go along. So thank you guys for following along. Huge win for the 33.3 window today, getting this trunk area fixed. This was one of the biggest spots that I was dreading on the car since literally the day I picked it up. Thanks guys, catch you later.